Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased. Except ours. I'm Colin.
Craig?
And I'm Daniel.
And it's just been the Super Bowl. As of this recording, the Super Bowl happened last night. And there's plenty to talk about. We're going to be reviewing, or at least recapping, the whole NFL playoffs. You know, the wild cards, divisional round, championship, and of course the Super Bowl. And maybe I don't remember some of our predictions from the first episode we did back in August of this. And I don't even remember if we did a recap of the last year's. I know we did a recap when the Chiefs won their Super Bowl against the Niners. That's all I remember.
It's been a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's been a long time. And Craig, why don't you start us off?
Well, where do you want to start? Are we starting from, are we
Well,
working backwards when we talk about the Super Bowl first?
No, let's talk about the Super Bowl last.
So, the first game in the playoffs, was that,
Have it pulled up. It was. Oh, I know. I guess I don't have it pulled up. Oh, it was the Seahawks and Niners.
right. I mean, yeah, it was the third time they met, because they're obviously divisional opponents, but that was kind of how we expected. It was close in the first half, and the Niners pulled away. I mean, I don't have much faith in the seven seeds. Like, I know it's new, but a seven seed has yet to win a playoff game. I doubt they'll win anytime soon.
Yeah, I think they had it perfect before with the six teams. Because I have a feeling the NFL is going to want to expand the playoffs again.
You can't have 8 teams. You can't have half the
No.
conference.
They'll
Man.
probably try to do that. Because of more money.
Oh
They'll
yeah, it's always about
make
money.
sure
It's
the
just
one seed doesn't get a bye. And it'll be like the seventh and eighth seed will never win. Because you can't have half a conference in the playoffs.
It would eventually be like the NHL and NBA. No team gets a bye. They just play straight through.
Which is terrible.
because even then, like some six seeds would come in. Like obviously the six seed is much better, but like even the six seeds, like sometimes they're not as good. The seven seed, it's always like teams limping in. Like have we yet to have like a good seven seed? Because
No.
also you have to think you're having the seventh best team in the conference face the second best team in the conference.
Yeah, it's unfair.
Because it's not like some years, okay, say you're the second best team in the conference, but you got stuck with the fifth seed. At least you could still win a game. I mean, the seventh seed is you're definitely not the second best team in the conference or the third. You're probably at best the fourth, even though that's very unlikely because you didn't win their division. But you know what I mean. Like it just I don't like the idea of the seventh seed.
I don't think anyone
Yeah.
does besides the NFL.
I mean, it makes people's stats look better. I guess I made the postseason more times now because I was always the seventh seed.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, I guess not much to talk about. It was close before the half for the Niners and Seahawks, and then the Niners just pulled away.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, the Seahawks fans have to at least be happy. I mean, considering how their season was projected to go before the season
yeah.
started, so we're, not fun to lose to a divisional rival,
Yeah.
but
But
they made the
looking ahead,
playoffs. Yeah,
yeah. After they robbed Denver, but no one thought that. But now they have all this capital come ahead with picks and stuff,
a lot
and
of good
you're able
rookies
to,
too.
exactly. So the Niners, like there wasn't much to say. That we all predicted that the better team won. They handled them in the second half.
But
I agree.
that wasn't the game of the day. That was the
That was the Chargers at Jaguars, and the Jaguars had or no, the Chargers had a monumental collapse because they were leading 27-0. And this is after Trevor Lawrence played absolutely terrible in the first half. I think he had 4 picks. I think his first pass was an interception. It wasn't his fault, but still, that was the kind of night he was having. And just absolutely terrible for the Chargers to blow such a 27-point lead. That is horrible.
and also because like I know they got the touchdown at the end of the half, but the way they were playing it because I know the disputes are say the Chargers can't run the ball, and a lot of it is just They don't want to. Like,
They
they
would
can
they
run the
would
ball successfully.
rather do those short dump off passes to Austin Eckler. The Chargers coaching staff has turned Justin Herbert into a dink and dunk machine.
Well, I mean, they fired Joe Lombardi, so that's hopefully out of the way. Because again, he's a guy who has talent, but let's check it down every play.
Yeah.
Analytics
This
say so or whatever.
yeah. And I know we've been talking about it for a while how Staley's just not a good coach, and it was clearly shown in this. This
Yeah,
game was the
I'm
prime
surprised he.
example of good coaching in Doug Peterson versus bad coaching in Staley.
100%. Like, I'm surprised he
'Cause
wasn't fired.
yeah,
Because
because
he didn't jump off a bridge.
yeah, because I'm trying to think like even in the Colts Chiefs comeback, how many turnovers did the Colts commit in the first half? It was what, 2 interceptions,
Something like that.
right?
I think they had a
And
fumble
even
return for a touchdown like the Chiefs did.
No, they didn't.
no,
I could have sworn somebody fumbled. Whatever, doesn't matter. That was like a decade ago.
but I just don't know how you managed to do that at all. But
Well,
yeah, I
it's because
mean,
like again, they have no commitment to running the ball. They're not. He's not a good coach. Like that's why I'm so shocked he stayed as the coach.
And it's
Because
also
like, he's done.
his defense is what also just in the second half they let up, and then because to beat the Jaguars, because Dano and I were on PlayStation watching this game together, we're talking during the game, and they just completely backed off. And the Jaguars are a team that they're another one where they're just short, complete, quick, confident passes, get the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hand quick. And Lawrence was playing terrible when they were up in the receiver's face. And as soon as that happened, they backed up. And that's when they started to move the ball.
Cause I guess they're thinking like, oh, they want to get beat deep, but it's like I don't understand. Like he hasn't beat you deep yet. Why are you so focused on that?
Yeah, I don't know. But other than that, it was a fun game to watch. Just I couldn't believe the Chargers blew that. So embarrassing for a team that is loaded with talent. And of course, there was not really the controversy, but Joey Bosa was flipping out at the end. There were bad calls that went against him, and I'm very happy that he called out the NFL refs. And was like pretty much swearing at them, and he got fined I think $50,000 for that. But it's just like whenever the NFL does that, they like bring in Mike Piera, who is the head, like he is oversees the refs, and of course he's going to defend the refs. Like that's just so stupid to like ask him questions like that. Like, oh, what do you think how it was? Doesn't matter.
Also, the thing too.
Yeah, go.
No, because he was complaining about the refs. How like he said something to the sideline, the ref came over and like,
oh yeah, the ref chased him down,
taunted him. Like that's unacceptable. The ref should not be taunting players.
And I think what he said too, he's like, if I mouth off, I get a $40,000 fine. But these guys make they make horrible calls or can change the course of a game, and there's no repercussion for them.
He's right.
The next game was the Bills and Dolphins,
which is funny because this was the best I think a 7 seed has done. They were on their third string quarterback.
Yes, so let's quickly talk about Tua, who was I think only maybe a week ago, he finally got out of the concussion protocol. This man suffered 3 concussions this year, 2 official, even though the first one against the Bills in week 3, he definitely suffered concussion. I mean, the guy collapsed.
They said he had back problems, but he literally wobbles like that.
It's like somebody took his legs out and he just collapsed. And the Bills, I don't remember if I said this during the midseason thing, but the Bills are the new Steelers of the 2010s. Very talented team, but they will play down to their opponent, and they'll always squander this talent and not win anything meaningful. And that is true yet again this year. And this is, I mean, they won this game, but we'll talk about, I guess, in the divisional round. Yeah, they barely beat. That's what I'm saying, though. They played on their opponents. They barely beat the Bills, who didn't even have Teddy Bridgewater playing. Teddy 2 sleeves and 2 gloves. They had some guy playing. And despite
a 7th-round rookie.
Yeah, despite some 7th-round guy playing, he did an okay job given his circumstances, and the Bills squeaked out a win by 3 points. Embarrassing for the Bills. Embarrassing.
Well, because remember after the game, people were saying, "Well, it's still a W," but it's like if you're the 2 seed projected to go to the Super Bowl, man, I know it's a divisional opponent, I get it, but a third string quarterback, it should not have been this close. I don't care; it's a divisional opponent.
Have you ever seen like the Patriots with Tom and Belichick? Did you ever see them struggle and play around with bad teams? No,
No,
they'd blow them out. Wouldn't even be close. Even the playoffs too, when they'd play besides that one year with the Jets, but they'd usually handle those bad teams in the playoffs. The Patriots.
Yeah.
remember when they played Tebow and they absolutely crushed the Broncos?
Yeah,
Like the Steelers couldn't figure out how to
they
stop
put
them.
like 45 points or something in the first half. Something crazy. I think Brady threw 6 touchdowns in one half. Something crazy like that.
Especially against the AFC South after Peyton left. It became the Patriots' punching bag in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Texans.
Texans and
And
Titans.
the Colts twice.
I'll
But
say the Texans. The Texans should have won those games, but that's another
yeah,
range for another day.
but embarrassing for the Bills. Embarrassing win.
You know,
They got the W. I'm like, well, it wasn't a convincing win. We were right the week later.
We have to also mention how this game went on forever. The Bills and Dolphins game.
Yeah.
That they had to push back the Giants and Vikings game. And Craig, why don't you talk about this game?
Best game of the playoffs, in my opinion. May or not be biased.
I don't know about that, but actually, you know what? Yeah,
it's one of the top two in the playoffs.
I would say it's the only two that were good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
Well, if you had to rank all of them, I would say this, and I'll get to the other one, but it was definitely up there.
the Giants get their first playoff win since 2011.
And
Also that Christmas Eve game, which the Giants just lost on a 60-yard field goal because that's all they painfully keep losing like that. But got the revenge, got a playoff win. Especially for the expectation for the season, it was very nice to see.
And also too, a big thing in this one, like the Giants were, they were the 6th seed, but keep in mind too their division that they were playing in this year. But
best division
the
football.
Vikings being a 3rd seed, it was kind of like the Bills. It was like they're almost like fraudulent, high-ranking team. And the surprising thing was as it got closer to game time, it was like split on who people were picking to win. Like I was confident the Giants could beat the Vikings, especially after their regular season matchup. Like it wasn't an upset by any means.
Yeah, like people kept saying, "Oh, it's a huge upset." I'm like, not really.
Well, the Vikings were what before this game 11-0 in one possession games.
Yeah.
Like I think
And
did
the
they
Giants
have,
were the
did they
second
have
best.
a negative turnover like a point differential?
Yeah, because when they lose, they lose bad.
Yeah, when they play good teams, they just get blown out.
Well, didn't their defense average like giving up 400 yards a game?
It was bad. It was something like that.
Yeah. But it's funny because the Giants were the second best team in one possession games too.
Yep.
Yeah, they squeaked out a lot of good wins.
Yeah.
But again, the Vikings had talent where they shouldn't be squeaking out wins. Well, the Giants didn't have that talent. They were squeaking out wins because that's all they could do. They weren't a dominant team.
Yeah, they're very limited in the receiving core. But I do remember sending you guys a message when Kenny Galladay, Giants legend, had a good block to seal out the edge.
Yeah, good old stone hands.
What's he, a $20 million man right there? Something like that? 15?
Yeah.
The Giants are able to squeak out a win, which is good for them. It's a good momentum builder for them next year. And everyone was clowning on Kirk Cousins. I mean, before that happened, there was a terrible roughing the passer call.
Yeah.
Dexter Lawrence on his head.
Also, don't forget Darius Slayton dropping a game-ending first down.
Well, yeah,
that's not the refs doing that.
That's true, yeah. It was 4th and 7, I believe, and then Kirk Cousins just dumps it off to Hawkinson.
I'll defend him in the sense that he did have pressure in his face, and I agree with what he said post game, where he said it's better to get the ball out than take the sack. Because if he takes the sack, then first thing people will say, "Oh, why'd you just throw the ball away?"
Yeah,
but as much as you want to blame him on that too, like I defend what you like. I understand that viewpoint, but I also question the coaching call. Why is a 2-yard route even an option on 4th and 8 and your season's on the line?
See,
Every route should be 10 yards.
The shortest route should be a little bit past the first down yardage mark.
Yeah. there is no reason that Hawkinson, who had been your best, especially considering he had been your best target all game, he was shredding the Giants. Why is he of all people running the shortest route?
But see, that's the better question people should be asking. They want to blame Kirk because everyone likes
Wouldn't
to
you,
clown on Kirk.
wouldn't you leave that to your running back or Jefferson, who if they catch the ball, they're athletic enough where they can make someone miss and go? Like Hawkinson, he's athletic, but he's still a tight end. If someone's right on him, very rarely is he gonna like actually bust a play open.
This is like Gronk or Kelsey.
Yeah, but you can get mad at him at the end of the game. But the truth is that Kirk Cousins played a very good game. Him and Daniel Jones went shot for shot with each other, and it was just a good overall clean game. And the Giants just won towards the end with their aggressive coaching. And the
We all know
Vikings,
Dayball won Coach of the Year too.
yeah, but the Vikings also too, for as talented as they are, the Giants, like when you're talking about close games, right? Like comparing the teams, the Giants don't have the offensive talent where you understand why they're in closer games given the lack of talent. Like the Vikings really don't have that excuse.
Oh,
I
You
know
like
their
all the
defense is
offensive weapons they have.
yeah,
Even on defense, they've got good players where they shouldn't be kicking up 400 yards a game.
yeah.
I believe they fired that guy, the defensive coordinator.
I mean, rightfully so.
Well, you have
Yeah.
to. If your defense is giving up 400 yards a game, that's terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, they got better as the season went along. I think they were getting worse.
Speaking of
Yeah, like
terrible,
yeah.
I was going to say, speaking of terrible, Lamar Jackson was hurt again, and he didn't even play in the wild card game against the Bengals. And I guess we should talk about the Bengals a little bit, how the NFL is trying to screw them over. So back in December, there was a Damar Hamlin situation where he pretty much died on the field. I don't believe that's wrong to say. Yeah, I think he was resuscitated. And the NFL canceled the game. But then Goodell was trying to meddle with pre-established rules, and he was trying to pretty much say that if the Bills and Chiefs were to play each other in the conference game, it'd be at a neutral site, completely leaving out the Bengals in that situation, even though the Bengals probably out that whole thing were screwed the most outside of DeMar
100%.
Hamlin. Outside of DeMar Hamlin.
Oh yeah.
But
And I think what made it worse, the Mike Brown was complaining about what you're talking about.
Yes.
Or his representative.
And
I think it was his daughter, but
the
still.
Bengals had to play the Ravens week 18, and they said that if the Ravens beat the Bengals, then there'll have to be a coin toss to determine who will host the wild card game. Even though that's complete nonsense, because with the game cancellation, the Bengals would have theoretically wrapped up the AFC North because the Ravens couldn't catch them. And the Bengals won the week 18.
But also you're forgetting too.
Oh, yes. What I forget.
The Bengals would have
had a shot
maintained
at
the
the
3
first
seed.
seed.
Yes, that's true also, yes.
So they would have technically still won the division, but they wouldn't host the playoff game, which is insane.
Yes.
Like a coin flip, really?
Yeah, I
Also,
can't
too,
believe
the
that's the
Bengals-
best that they could come up with, even though there was rules for this already.
Yeah. I still don't get how they leave the Bengals out of that situation. The Bengals were winning the game. I know it was early on, but again, the Bengals had a shot to take the 1 seed because they beat the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, they were the most screwed team of the whole year.
Yeah, like why wasn't the Bengals Chiefs game a neutral site? Because whoever won that game in week 17 would have been hosting the playoff game.
Yes, because both teams, both the Bills and the Bengals, had the tiebreaker over the Chiefs.
But at bare minimum,
yeah.
the Bengals would have gotten the 2nd seed if they don't
Yeah.
pass the Chiefs. They jumped the Bills.
Yeah, complete terrible, slimy things by the NFL for taking such a tragedy to happen on the field and using it for profit gains, like the whole neutral site thing.
Well, you know the old Stalin saying, right? Never let a tragedy go to waste.
Yeah, they how many tickets they pre-sold? There's like 60,000 for something for in Georgia.
Yep.
Thankfully, I mean, let's finish.
No, thankfully.
No, and I was gonna say that thankfully that never got to that. But I mean, with the Bengals and Ravens game, again, divisional game, Tyler Huntley, Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley. Now I got to say,
that is so shocking.
One-time Pro Bowler. It was a close game. Bengals scored a defensive touchdown. Again, divisional game. Not much to say about it. Ravens
people
always
are
play the
hold on
Bengals
against
tough. They always play
yeah.
them tough. But what does this have to say about John Harbaugh now, who's lost a bunch of playoff games? I mean, hey, his playoff record ain't looking too hot now.
Well, I want to talk more about like Lamar. Like he obviously wasn't playing. He could have played, but he didn't want to play because he doesn't have his guaranteed contract. I'm going to lose the bargaining power.
Yeah, Lamar's kind of being a little bit of a scumbag. And
Because
because
he can say I'm injured, but you were fine or fine enough to suit up.
I know that he doesn't have an agent, so that's why it's taking so long for both sides to come to an agreement. But I think he has to realize that now, given his injury history, he kind of screwed himself betting on himself. Because now he won't get that guaranteed, fully guaranteed contract. It's because you have this injury history. Anyone with a modicum of intelligence would know not to give a guy with an injury history a fully guaranteed contract.
Also, it's just also very rare. Like I think only 2 players have gotten that: Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins
and
and
Deshaun
Deshaun
Weinstein.
Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those guys I can't say were injury prone. I know Deshaun Watson tore his ACL one time, but for the most part, those guys aren't injury prone. Also, Deshaun Weinstein had like bargaining power over the Browns because they're desperate. It's not the same situation. He thinks that he can just demand it, and if he complains enough, he'll get it. Because I've been listening to Mike Florio talk about this. Like Lamar doesn't understand how to negotiate contract, and it shows because he hasn't gotten what he wanted yet. Like he's saying, if you get a better agent, he obviously can't get you the guaranteed contract because that's just not happening. But he could get you a close enough deal to what you'd want.
Not even Mahomes' contract is fully guaranteed, and he deserves it way more than Lamar wore. Like I wouldn't give him a fully guaranteed contract, but he deserves it more than Lamar.
I mean, Tom never got one. Peyton never got one. Rodgers never got one. It's
Because
not a
it's
thing.
unheard of. It is completely unheard of. Everyone was making fun of Kirk Cousins when even he got it. Granted, his wasn't as much. I think it was 3 years, $84 million. Lamar would probably want something that would break the bank, I would imagine.
I think he wants Deshaun Watson's contract.
Yeah.
5 years, 250 fully guaranteed.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy.
He's never going to get it.
Yeah.
And
They might trade him.
I mean, they might have to dump it on someone else's problem.
First-round picks for him.
He'll go to the Jets.
Good luck. So the final game of Super Wildcard Weekend was the Cowboys at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I didn't want either team to win, but I was rooting for the Cowboys in this one instant. Because Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, for the first time in his career, had a losing record. So Tom Brady, this man, really came back from retirement to get divorced, lose to the Falcons for the first time, lose to the Cowboys for the first time, become the most sacked guy in league history, and to lose to what else did he do? And have a losing record. Did I say that already?
Yeah, win the division with the losing record because, of course, the man sucks the competition from his division opponents.
Yeah, so he really came back to do all those firsts. You know, he got divorced, tough scene. Loses the Cowboys and Falcons. Oh yeah, I know, but you know. So he went 1-done in the playoffs, which I was so happy. And if we could just reflect on the Buccaneers season, it's amazing how this man went the whole season without any blame set towards him. He played an awful season. His stats are misleading, as they always are. I think he broke the most attempts ever in an NFL season. He broke Stafford's record. He had over 720 attempts. Something crazy like that. Yes, they couldn't run the ball too well, but he was also missing throws. He looked jittery in the pocket all year, and it's because he's a 45-year-old man.
I mean, that's the risk you take when you sign him.
Eat strawberries.
Yes, somehow he's able to play till he's 45, even though he stretches and doesn't eat strawberries.
Colin, don't forget another record. He's the first NFL quarterback to attempt to slide tackle a player in a playoff game. Don't forget that record.
Well, he's done at least twice now that we know of.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, no. You know, he Spartan kicked Ed Reed. This was the first slide tackle.
No, he's so great
integrating other sports together. See, that's what greatness is.
Yes. And Dak Prescott and his receding hairline were able to go into Tampa Bay.
Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Walter Payton Man of the Year award. And Dak played a good game. I'll give him that. He played a very good game. He did what he had to do. And that's with their idiot kicker missing 4 extra points. Because, again, we were all watching it together. and we're like, this only happens against Brady, where people just forget how to kick. Because it was almost like a sick foreshadowing, like in a movie, you're going to foreshadow something like, oh, there's no way these 4 extra missed points will come back to haunt them, right? It just seemed like the most obvious and unfortunate foreshadowing. But thankfully, Dallas was able to pick off Brady. They shut him down.
Is that another NFL record that Brady gets to be a part of too? The most missed extra points in a playoff game?
I think so.
You know what's egregious when the Manning cast is ripping the kicker in the middle of the game? Like Peyton literally said, he goes, "Can you cut a guy at halftime of a playoff game?" I think Eli said too, "Don't worry, he's better at field goals than he is extra points."
But Tom Brady apparently has retired. We don't know. We don't know if that human cockroach will come back.
You know he's going to.
But as of now, when this episode comes out, he's retired. Good riddance to him. So the first game of the divisional playoffs was the Jacksonville Jaguars at Kansas City Chiefs. And a pretty standard game. I mean, Mahomes got hurt. He left a little bit, then came back. I mean, I think everybody knew the Jaguars weren't going to be able to beat the Chiefs. I think everybody knew that.
Yeah. They put up a good fight.
The Jags had a good season, though. There's nothing for them to be upset about. I mean, obviously you want to win, but listen, they're 9-8. They won a playoff game. Like the Giants, a good momentum builder for them next year.
So look at their year last year with Urban Meyer, and now they're in a divisional round. I mean, that to me is
I totally agree.
Yeah, but it was a classic case of an experienced team versus a young team. The Jags had some shots early in the game. They missed them, like a drop bomb and a couple dropped interceptions, and the Chiefs just capitalized on it. Better team won.
That's really a better team won.
So the next game also was on Saturday, the Eagles versus the Giants. And I think we were saying that if the Giants were to win, it would be a close game, but if the Eagles were to win, it would be a blowout.
Yep.
And the Eagles were, they're the better team than the Giants that game. The Giants
ran them over.
Yeah.
The thing is that what annoys me is not really that they lost, because I mean, it's bad enough as lose the Eagles. They were the better team. But when people are trying to put the blame on Daniel Jones, I'm like, did you watch the game?
He had no help.
No help. Like, this is what the Giants were all year. They don't have a great offensive line. They had a terrible run defense, and that's what killed them. No receivers. I mean, the guy like Hodgins and Slayton are okay, but they're not guys who are going to take the pressure off a quarterback.
Yeah, they looked a lot better against the Vikings' horrid coach defense.
I mean, they're solid guys, but again, they're not like a number one guy. They're not like Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, or whoever you think is the best.
Zach Pascal.
Yeah. It was just a classic case. The better team just steamrolled them, and there really was nothing the Giants could do to stop them.
Oh, I mean, if they were Daniel Jones, and all the problems are fixed.
Exactly.
But like we said for the Jaguars, Giants had a good year. Just a shame that they had to lose to Philly.
That's really what it comes down to.
So the next game, as we were foreshadowing before, was the Bengals at the Bills. And the Bengals just spanked the Bills in Buffalo. And it was so great seeing, because Josh Allen seems like he can only make those good throws when a play breaks down. But when he has to sit back and try to make a good read, he doesn't know what to do, really.
Well, I put the blame on that, but I also put the blame on their coaching staff. McDermott, he has to be on the kind of getting towards the hot seat, because this is his 6th or 7th season, and they haven't gotten to a Super Bowl yet. But also too, it's their coaching scheme of they have no identity. I really I really could not understand what their scheme was. We talk about some quarterbacks are background style, which Josh Allen plays that perfectly. But when they go up against the team, the Bengals exposed it. They go up against a sound schematic team, and the Bengals they stuck to their strategy. They knew what they were doing, and the Bills just I don't even know what their offense was. There was no running attack. There was no actual throwing scheme. It was just literally Josh Allen got in the huddle and goes, okay, everyone just get open. And that was it. and the Bengals just stuck. They just stuck to their scheme, and they bullied the Bills in Buffalo. They took them and put them through a table and said, "Take that, Bills Mafia."
That's true. It's true. And I think it originally started off as a joke, but some people are saying that the Bengals had a unfair advantage because they were wearing all white, even though they had orange helmets on. Obviously, I think some
but the
people
Bills are
said
the
that was
home
a
team.
joke. Yeah, but I think
If
some
the
people
Bills
were
wanted
actually
that
serious
advantage,
about
they
that.
could wear white.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The Bills can literally wear what they want. They're the home team.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
I'm just happy.
bad coaching for the Bills got exposed.
yeah, they're kind of in a weird spot now because the Bengals, all right, they've surpassed them. The Chiefs are ahead of them, and like the Bills are now in that weird spot, like you were saying, Colin. It's like they're like the Steelers. They have all this talent, but what are they going to do? Because Stephon Diggs after that game looked like he wants out.
I
Like
mean, it's frustrating for them because, like we said, they have all this talent, and they can't do anything. The AFC right now will always run through Kansas City, but they have to worry about the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs. They have to worry about the Bengals too.
also their own division is not a joke either.
Yeah,
The Dolphins were a starting quarterback away from knocking them off in the first round.
when
The
Tua isn't
Patriots,
suffering CTE, they're a very good
yeah,
team.
the Jets and Patriots just missed the playoffs. They were only like a couple. The Patriots
I
were
think they
literally
each were like a game out.
the Patriots. If they had beaten the Bills last week, were one of the wild card teams, and the Jets were a couple wins out too. So they're. I mean, they get a decent quarterback in there. Um, they're not a joke either. So the Bills really have to like get their stuff together because their division is tough. Both East divisions are oddly the toughest ones.
Especially the MCs after it was like so bad for a while.
Yeah. Well, and the AFC East too. With when Brady and Belichick were there, it was like a joke.
Yeah, but at least you had the Patriots winning Super Bowls. So at least the division was
Yeah.
respectable.
But
Are
at
you telling
least
me
the
Dallas
Bills
getting
got
bounced in the
exposed.
second round was a joke, Craig?
It is funny. It
Every
was
year.
funny watching the Cowboys lose.
So the last game of the divisional round playoffs was the Cowboys at the Niners, and I think everybody knew the Niners would win, but maybe not as close as people thought it was. Dak did not play well at all this game. He actually played pretty terrible, one could say. And the Niners just played safe, sound football and won the game.
Yeah.
I guess we gotta talk about that last play where I don't even know what kind of formation that was. Where Zeke was snapping it and he just got destroyed.
I don't know why they keep doing this. Like every year they gotta like end their playoff loss on like some stupid play.
But Craig, I just must include the fact that when the game was over, they showed John Lynch in the press box. Then like not even a minute later, this guy was on the field. Remember, we were watching the game. I was like, oh yeah, there's John Lynch, and then literally 30 seconds later, I'm like, how did he get on the field?
He's got a body double.
I think he just jumped out. He put a helmet on, and jumped out the press box.
Oh, like your brother Daniel?
Yeah. apparently he has an executive zip line to the field.
But as Craig was saying, this is the second year in a row where the Cowboys just embarrassed themselves in the last play of the game by just doing something so stupid.
I think you just gotta wonder like what do the Cowboys do from here because obviously quarterback is an issue. They paid him tons of money. He's owed tons of money, so they can't really cut him.
What do they do with Pollard? Because they still have that fat slob Zeke under contract.
They honestly might cut him unless he takes like a huge pay cut.
Yeah, the Cowboys are another team where they just squander. I mean, this has always been the Cowboys for the past since 1995, where they just have all this talent and then just can't win with it. They've been the same way with Romo. Now they're the same with Dak, and they both right now have the same playoff record. They're both 2-4, so he's really taken after Romo, I guess.
I mean, Dak, I would. This is one of the true cases of a quarterback cost you the game. His 2 interceptions were backbreakers. Because they were at points where Dallas could have gotten control of the game.
I think wasn't the first one.
The first one was
like
just
in the end zone?
terrible. No, his first one was in their own territory, and he threw a terrible pick right to the guy.
Okay, yeah. 'Cause I remember I wasn't sure which one. I can't remember
The
which one was
second
first.
one was where he threw it, and I think Fred Warner and the safety were covering a guy. And he got intercepted. It's like, why would you throw that? There's two guys there.
Well, he led the league in interceptions for a reason,
Yeah.
not because he's good.
Yeah.
He's a garbage time hero.
Because you gotta wonder, like with Jerry, is he gonna start getting he's getting up there in age? He's gonna start getting a
I believe
little
he's
crazy.
80 right now.
Yeah, I mean, these old billionaires, they'll live forever, but like, is he gonna start like becoming senile, like start getting desperate to get another championship?
Probably is because I mean with these Cowboys teams and the ones Romo had, these teams are better than whatever Romo had. So the fact that they can barely win anything is embarrassing.
Still have made an NFC
Especially,
championship game.
They haven't been in the championship game in like 25 years.
especially too, because they actually have an elite defense behind them too.
Yeah, they have Micah Parsons.
They've got like
Yeah.
not just defense, but they've got
Some
like a
sure
good
other
team
people.
everywhere.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
they have a very good team. Jerry Jones is good at drafting people, but he just
Yeah,
hires
just-
these loser coaches who fold under pressure like lawn chairs. They just do the most dumbest things at the wrong time.
Yeah, let's call a quarterback draw in 15
I
seconds.
think
Off
it's just the
timeouts.
Cowboys' way. It's in their blood that they just like Romo always put up good stats, but he always have that one interception at the worst time imaginable. It's just who they are.
And I love it. That's why, like, I never get too worried what the Cowboys getting for me. I thought it would be funny if they lost to the Buccaneers, because that would be hilarious. All this talent, they lose to Tom Brady with the losing record in the wild card round. This obviously isn't as funny, but still, they'll find a way to lose. Be patient.
It's the second year in a row they got bounced by the Niners.
Yep.
So the next week was the conference championship game. The first game up was the Niners at Eagles. And it was a relatively close game until first off the refs completely missed. They blew the 4th and 5 call or 4th and 5 play where Devonta Smith caught it even though he didn't.
The whole game, I mean, honestly, both games are just horribly officiated. I hated it.
Yeah. I think the Eagles one was a little worse cuz Lane Johnson apparently can just move whenever.
I wonder why he's an all-pro or whatever he got. Apparently he gets a half-second head start on everybody.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to say. Yeah, Brock Purdy got hurt in the game. He tore his UCL, right? Something like that.
Something in his elbow because he needs Tommy John
Well,
surgery.
Josh Johnson, how are you a 15-year pro and that's what you do?
Yeah, you'd figure he would pick up some things. Like, listen, when Josh McCown would go in, he looked serviceable. At least he wouldn't be doing anything too stupid.
Yeah.
But this guy, my God, like I could see why he's been passed around the league.
I know again, people say that they're fourth string quarterback. Like he's been with Kyle Shanahan before. He's been, I think, 3 times with them in their system.
And their system is very quarterback friendly. That's how Brock Purdy can look good. It makes Jimmy G look like a handsome all pro.
Because he is.
Ooh. But yeah, the Eagles just they ran away with it in the second half because the Niners just couldn't do anything on offense.
Well, I mean, I think it's unfair to say Craig it was horribly officiated, in the Eagles' favor. When the punt hit the wire, the Eagles should have gotten a do-over.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, there's no do-overs, right?
Yeah.
You hit the top of the scoreboard. Sorry, don't do it.
Yeah.
It hits the crossbar, hits the ref. Sorry, don't do it. I mean, they're part of the field.
Yeah. I just love how they're making such a big deal about that, but it's like you hit the wire. Like, what are the refs gonna do?
Yeah, even if they hit it, like I mean, maybe it's in the rule book, but as far as I'm aware, like that kind of interference is just part of the game. Don't do it.
The next game
So
was the
don't get redos.
Bengals at the Chiefs for the championship game.
Well, actually, I wanted to talk about the Niners because what do they do at quarterbacks? They're letting Jimmy G go.
Well, they
Are
should.
they gonna,
You blow on
they're
him, he
going
gets
to,
hurt.
Well,
do
they
they
have
roll the dice
well,
with Purdy? Or are they going to finally start the Trey Lance
No,
project?
no, they have to roll Trey Lance next year. Purdy's done for the next. He's done for the next calendar year. He's missing all of next season already. The
Oh, yeah.
surgery he's getting he's done, so they have to roll Trey Lance and
Is he? Wait,
and
is he actually
hopefully
getting the
keep
surgery?
Josh Johnson. Yeah, I think so.
Because I thought that he might be able to like rehab it.
Yeah, I thought he
That might
said
be
he wasn't
cool.
going to do that.
Wait, the surgery or the rehab?
The surgery.
I thought he was going to rehab it, but I don't care. I don't follow the
We
Niners
should
that
have done
closely.
we should have done a research. Yeah, they're gonna have to roll Trey Lance. Get rid of that idiot Josh Johnson. Let him go to his 16th or 17th team, whatever it is.
Break the record.
Ridiculous number.
Yeah, Purdy's set to undergo surgery.
Oh, okay.
Tough scene.
Very tough scene. Well, the next game, as I was saying before, was interrupted. Was the Chiefs and Bengals game. And, I mean, I don't really have much else to say. What do you guys have more to say about it than I do?
It was poorly officiated.
I didn't care who won this game. I know you guys wanted the Bengals to win. I didn't really care.
I wanted Mike Brown to flip off Goodell and spit on Art Modell's grave.
I wanted the Chiefs more because I knew they would have been a better matchup than the Bengals against the Eagles. That Bengals O-line against the Eagles D-line, oh, good luck.
Yeah, but I just wanted the Bengals to stick it to NFL.
There was that dummy linebacker at the end who hit Mahomes, and man, the CBS broadcast must have hated that guy because they kept on showing everyone in the Chiefs celebrating, and then it'll go back to the guy crying. Go back to the Travis Kelce running around. Yeah. Then just show him crying again.
Well, I think this game, it's the horrible officiating in the Eagles game was, the Niners, they were down to their fourth-string quarterback. They didn't, the Eagles, they pulled away, whatever. You could be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Eagles kind of dominant. But this one was more egregious because the Bengals, so the Chiefs got out early on the Bengals. Bengals really didn't have much going in the first half. Then the Bengals picked it up in the second half, and they had the Chiefs on the ropes, and they could have taken the lead when the Chiefs were stalling late. And the refs were then throwing flags to keep the Chiefs' drives going. That's where it was more egregious. The roughing the pass, the unnecessary roughness, that was a blatant flag.
That's on the player. I hate when people bring that up, when you say bad official, was this a bad call? Obviously, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, we're just saying that linebacker is an idiot for even attempting to hit Mahomes going out of bounds. What are you doing?
Yeah, bad if you even try to hit him.
Yeah, don't even touch him. Don't even push him.
Yeah, but that one was more annoying. Because the Bengals, I guess it's they don't really they were in the Super Bowl or whatever, but it was just annoying because the Bengals, they should have won that game.
Yeah.
But the best also was that linebacker, whatever his name was, he's his response was the best, basically saying now I know not to do that. It's dude, you've been playing football for 20-something years. What do you mean you just learned this?
You don't hit one of the star, if you even breathe on these guys, you're going to get flagged. So it makes you think that he's running out of bounds, you can get a hit on him.
Especially all year when people are complaining about roughing the passer, how the refs are ruining the game because the quarterbacks are basically playing by different rules, especially big-name quarterbacks.
Yeah, what is wrong with you? Yeah, that guy deserved to cry. He costed the Bengals. I mean, it would have been a hard kick regardless, but he really just made an easier kick for Harrison Butker.
I mean, I don't know if he would have made it because wasn't having a great year.
Yeah, he doinked one in the Super Bowl. But, and the best is too, is teammates going over, what are you going to say to him? There's nothing you could say to be hey, man, it's not like a kicker missing a tough kick. And it's you know what, man, tough break. This guy made such a stupid error. It's what are you doing? I don't know as a teammate.
That's what he's doing.
But these teams, what are you going to say to him? Hey man, just remember, keep it in bounds. Yeah, catch him in bounds next season.
We'll get him next year.
If you're on the team next year.
Yeah. But yeah, it's it was a shame that game was way more altered by the refs, but
because that's what made me less excited to watch the Super Bowl. Because these games are so horribly official, left a bad taste in my mouth. I wasn't sure if I wanted to watch the Super Bowl.
Well, I did. It was beautiful. I know you guys did too. But the Super Bowl 57,
of course, it did. I'm just complaining.
Was the Eagles against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs beat the Eagles on a last-second field goal to win the Super Bowl, and all those people in Philly are going to flip cars and destroy things out of anger,
break through TVs.
Which I'm all for.
If the Eagles had won, they were going to still flip cars.
Yeah, my friend, I think I told you guys this already. My friend during the Super Bowl, he showed me a Snapchat of some of his friends in Philly before the Super Bowl flipped over a car. It's like they're committing crimes.
I just don't get
But
like I don't get why they embrace it so much. Why they have to be like awful people. Like, well, I guess they were a loser franchise for so long. I guess that's what they had to embrace, right?
yeah, but I actually enjoyed the Super Bowl. I don't know about you guys. I enjoyed it
I was
more,
gonna
especially
say,
because Philly lost.
yeah. I was gonna say, this was the other top game with the Giants game.
Yeah, this is number two
Honestly,
probably.
in all honesty, I was like you, Craig. I was not looking forward to this game at all, especially after the horrible officiating and in the previous week, and it was like the Eagles and Chiefs, like neither team I was trying to pull for. I was, but I was genuinely surprised, like how it was a good game,
Yeah.
and it was even better that the Chiefs won on the correct call.
I guess should we just go to that right now then?
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about that in the past, not even 24 hours after the Super Bowl. On third down, under 2 minutes, James Bradbury held Juju Smith-Schuster, and I wish I could show a picture on the screen, but the NFL would probably spank us so hard. They'd spank us for breakfast. It wouldn't be fun.
Well,
Right?
spank us. We're under the
Well,
radar.
Any
Colin,
kind
you
of
don't.
NFL related copyrighted material, but you could clearly see James Bradbury holding Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, the guy admitted it, and I know people are
Yeah.
saying like, "Oh, what's he supposed to say?" Well, if he really thought he was slighted, then he'd do a Joey Bosa and he'd call them out.
Or you could do it, more tactfully. Just say, some calls don't go our way. Like, there's better ways to phrase it without getting fined. So I think I was a Brandon Graham. I think he did something like that where the calls didn't go our way.
I mean, did Sean Payton and them get fined for when they called out the refs on that missed pass interference call, defensive pass
Probably.
interference in the championship game?
I mean, he
You
took
know,
these with like to kill a ref. So
if it's that egregious, no one's gonna fault you for when you lose a Super Bowl on a call like that,
the
like
biggest problem
to
was
flip
this:
out.
Greg Olson and the NFL Fox broadcast booth were showing the wrong angle the whole time.
Yes.
They didn't show.
Yeah.
They were showing the like Juju Smith-Schuster, and you could barely see Bradbury behind him. But really, it was Bradbury's right hand that grabbed Juju Smith-Schuster's bottom, like right side of his jersey, and he pulled it.
Yeah.
And all those,
And then also,
yeah. What are you gonna say?
and then also too. Well, one, they should show angles from where the flag comes from, so you're getting it initially from that ref's point of view, because that's where the flag came from. It came from the end zone, so that ref saw where the hell occurred, like you're saying, on his right side, kind of hidden from the camera. But if you watch the play initially and you keep your eyes on it, the grab happens quick. And the like you're saying, the camera shows after he lets go of the jersey. But when you watch it, I initially said he got held. When I saw, I was like, wait, he got held because you saw the jersey tug on the right. But then also too, when they show it again after he lets go, on the left, on the back left of Juju, he grabs the jersey again on the left side. That was like that one you could get more away with, but he still grabbed him there. And like you're saying, he admitted it. Like I don't know what you're trying to
Yeah,
say. He
all
literally
those
said, "I hope the ref
NFL
was
fans
going to let it slide."
saying that like, oh, they shouldn't be making that kind of call in the last 2 minutes. It's like, well, no, they should be making the call regardless of the time it takes place in the game.
Yeah.
It's just so unfortunate for the Eagles that they decided to do that at the end of the game. It's such a low IQ way of thinking that it's the final two
I stole what I was
minutes.
gonna say.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
because I keep seeing people say that too, but like it's like, what do you want the refs to do? Like, oh, should I call this? But it's a big moment. I'm gonna let it go. It's like,
No,
no.
like you said, it is low IQ. It doesn't matter if it's preseason, week 1, week 18, a blowout, Super Bowl, doesn't matter. You make the call because it's the right call. Circumstances of the
It's
game are irrelevant.
it's not even just fans too. I was saw clips of analysts saying the same things. It's like
Well, there's a reason why I don't
they,
respect these people.
it's like, and some of them played the game. It's like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah, I
no,
saw
you
Pat
gotta.
McAfee saying that, and I was like, oof.
Yeah, well, he's not the brightest guy. That's why he's getting sued.
Well, that's a whole other story about it.
But it's just like, because I think it was Ryan Clark said, he's like, listen, you can be disappointed. That's how the game ended, but you can't be angry because it was the right call. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
people
you know what I
wanted
mean?
to see
That
Jalen
was
Hurts march down the field or whatever. But just like, the Chiefs played a
He could have
smart
another
game.
minute to throw it 30 yards short of
Yeah,
where his receivers were.
people are also mad that they need it to like kill the clock, and I guess they wanted the Chiefs to be stupid and like score a field goal immediately. And it's like, no, they're playing to win. They're not playing to not lose. They're playing to win.
Andy Reid has blown enough big games in his life to know.
I would even blame
do.
some of those games with the Eagles. I might not even blame them on him now because he always had McNabb, and McNabb, as we know, it was a notorious choke artist. But
Yeah.
That's another story for, I guess, another day.
Also, I wanted to say too, like, because people want like their overtime game, it's like you can't blame the refs for that. You have to blame Bradbury. He committed the penalty. The refs calling that, it's not their fault. They're not inserting themselves into the game. They're keeping the game fair.
I mean, they also let Lane
also,
Johnson
too,
go off or have a false start twice. They didn't call.
Oh, he probably plays by different rules.
Yeah.
And also too, it's like, okay, like from the Eagles' standpoint, it's like, oh, they want to say you got screwed on that call, but the Chiefs, but look at the flip side, they don't make that call. The Chiefs kick a field goal, and the Eagles go and score a touchdown. They get screwed on a non-call too. So it goes both sides. But the guy he committed a foul, and a flag should be thrown. And the best is too is like how stupid some of these fans and analysts. It's like, oh, the ball wasn't even catchable. Hey, have you read
defensive holding?
Yeah, no. But the thing is have you read the rule book? Because again, there's a reason defensive holding is 5 yards because it occurs before the ball is thrown, which that was the right call. And defensive pass interference is when the ball's in the air, and that's why it's a spot foul. They're so like stupid about this. Like they can't even.
Also holding too. Like it doesn't matter if the ball gets thrown to him. It's just the fact that you did it.
Yeah, it's literally just you grabbing their jersey and tugging.
But also, the Eagles, like Eagles fans, you should be more mad at your own team because you were up 10 points going into the second half. You were controlling the clock. Mahomes only had 3 possessions in the first half, less than 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's like 9 minutes.
And you're only up by 10 points?
Well, I was going to say they should be more mad at their D-line, which was 3rd all-time apparently in most sacks in a season, and they didn't even get to Mahomes once. And, maybe you could say that was also the turf, because the grass was pretty bad last night, and everybody on both teams was slipping.
It's funny because people are saying we need to play on grass, and they get rid of the turf and they're slipping.
No. Everyone was slipping on that grass. It was horrible for both teams. I wouldn't say it benefited one or the other. I mean, everybody was slipping.
But the Eagles blew the game. That's the truth of it. They were the better team on paper. They had a more talented roster. You can argue quarterback, but they overall were the better team, and they just lost. They blew it. The game changed entirely when Hurts fumbled with no excuse, and the Chiefs picked it up and scored a touchdown. And you can also argue that the Chiefs were possibly screwed out of another fumble recovery for a touchdown because that play was very close.
I thought that was a fumble.
I thought it was a fumble too because he caught it, got 2 feet down, and he got squared up. But that one is close enough for either way, whatever. But it was overall it was a fairly called game. And the one flag, it was the right call. It just happened at the worst time for one team, and the Chiefs capitalized on it. But the fact that the Eagles dominated the clock, they stopped running Jalen Hurts in the second half, and their D-line completely was non-existent.
Not even that too. Andy Reid and his play calling just messed up those Eagles corners. The fact that they had 2 wide open touchdown passes was nuts.
On the same play, basically.
Yeah, there was nobody within 20 feet of those guys that were so wide open.
Yeah, Sirianni chanting, I know what I'm doing in the Giants game. Clearly did in the second half, you clown. You can go say that's for Frank. Go say that's for Frank, and go. You have the same amount of Super Bowls as Frank Reich, and you can go join him for Frank.
I think Frank Reich has one more than him, but...
Yeah, does Sirianni actually have any?
As a head coach.
As a head coach? Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yes. But first off, Reich was a passerby on that Eagles Super Bowl because Doug Peterson was calling the plays, and it clearly has been shown in the years after. But Sirianni's this rah-rah guy, crying before the game. Well, you should have coached your team better in the second half.
Really, the whole team should have been coached better in the second half because, like I said, the Eagles have this top-ranked defense, and they look lost. They They just didn't know what to do. They couldn't get to Mahomes at all. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
Hassan
gonna-
Reddick was hyping
But also-
himself up, and that clown couldn't even get to Mahomes.
And also too, but again, like Hurts was running over the Chiefs in the first half, and they stopped running him in the second half. Why?
Because he got
You heard his
silly.
pinky toe.
Silly Philly.
Yeah. So, are you saying when the Eagles aren't playing backup offenses, they struggle?
Or they can't like run over the Giants' defense.
Well, they're
Yeah.
playing, I guess, against smarter offenses that will use motions and other stuff like that to confuse the corners. Like those corners got beaten bad on those short passes.
And also another thing too, I want to bring up. Everyone is praising Jalen Hurts more than Mahomes, but there's multiple things to this. Like, oh, he should have, like, Craig. What was it? Some people were saying Hurts should have gotten MVP regardless. Something
Yeah,
like
like
that.
that Cowboys player in Super Bowl V.
First off, you can't
Different
compare the numbers when
circumstances.
Mahomes had under 10 minutes. He had 3 possessions in the first half. He literally like had a non-existent like
Well,
first
Daniel,
half almost.
before you continue, I must say that if people are comparing him to Chuck Howley, well, the difference was in that Super Bowl where there was like 11 turnovers. Everybody played bad that game, except him. Completely different circumstances.
Yeah.
Because Mahomes was very sharp last night, and he did that with 10 less minutes of the time of possession.
With a less talented roster.
Yeah, I would say.
See,
So.
I think, I mean, personally, I think MVP should have gone to the whole offensive line for the Chiefs, but
Oh yeah, they
the
manhandled
Eagles.
the
The Eagles had the better on paper had the better O line. They have a better receiving core. Their quarterback is comparable or is good enough to be that he could match Mahomes on a good day. They had like the Eagles just blew the game, but back to that point of with Hurts, like, yeah, his numbers are going to look good, but he also made some boneheaded decisions that he got away with in that game. He should have
been
honestly
picked
been
off
picked
3
off.
times.
Yep. Hit the first touchdown, the corner and safety horribly played that ball. That should have been a pick.
Well, the corner even got
It was
lost,
not-
I guess, trying to trail the ball. He just got lost.
It was not a good throw. Brown made a great adjustment to it. And then he tried that same throw again. The safety dropped it. And then also too it was like I think first down or something late in the game.
Dallas Goedert, right?
Yeah, and he's under pressure. He throws it. If the linebacker turns and just faces the ball, that's a pick going the other way. But
Yep.
he was doing really good in the first half when he was running.
Well, there was that threat of running.
Mhm.
That's why the Chiefs were scared.
Just honestly, the Eagles got outcoached.
yeah, like I said, it's pretty. I mean, they had it. They didn't make enough adjustments in the second half, and that was it.
And Hurts fumbling, they could have marched down the field and gone up 21, add another 3 points or probably another 7 the way their offense was moving it. And that's a completely different game. But then they fumble, and the Chiefs now it's tied 14-14, and their offense has barely touched the field. That changes the game. That was their only turnover all postseason. It was kind of the backbreaker for them.
Yeah. It's kind of a lot like the 2015 Panthers a little bit, where they're like this team that they're just blowing out other teams in the playoffs and whatnot. And then they hit that wall where there's just another team that can get physical with them a little bit. And they don't know how to adjust really or adjust to their competition. Because really the Eagles should have ran away with the Super Bowl.
Yeah. They were not robbed by the refs. They blew the game themselves to even get in that situation.
Yeah, they blew a 10-point lead in the second half, or a 10-point halftime lead. And the only other team to do that was Matt Ryan and the Falcons.
And the Niners against Patrick Mahomes.
No, it was a halftime lead.
Oh, halftime. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Chiefs are your Super Bowl 57 champs, though. Good for them. Good for Andy Reid. So now with this Super Bowl win, where would you put Andy Reid? Where would you rank him?
I mean, obviously high, but I don't think he'll ever crack the all-time greats like Belichick or.
Belichick is untouchable.
The reason that I think he gets a special place is because he did it. He had success with 2 different teams. Belichick didn't do that as a head coach. Shula didn't. Well, Shula is the only other one really, because Landry was with the Cowboys. Shula at least brought the Colts to a Super Bowl and a championship game when he was with them, and then had success with the Dolphins after. Bill Walsh was just the Niners as a head coach.
That's always why I've regarded Bill Parcells so highly, like more than most people, because he won wherever he went. You can't say it was the players or the system. He
So
just won.
I don't know where I would officially rank Reed, but I think he now has a case to be in that like kind of closer, if not in the top tier, closer definitely on the outside of that top tier because he brought the Eagles to what, four straight NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl appearance.
Yes, sir.
And then he's made made three Super Bowls with the Chiefs and won two of them with what, five straight AFC Championship appearances.
Yep.
And and normally you could say, oh well, he has Patrick Mahomes, but he was doing that with Donovan McNabb too.
I mean, he was winning with Alex Smith too. I mean,
yeah, because the
was
Chiefs under his
good,
tenure with
but
Alex Smith, they were missing that piece to get over the hump of like when they faced the Patriots or even the Broncos in the regular season, like they were just a quarterback away, and it shows now. But I think after winning this one, he definitely has a case to be in that discussion, like in the inner circle of great coaches.
I'm not going to give a number because official rankings
Yeah,
are dumb. But
I'm not going to give but I think you could make a case for him because again, he's had equal. If he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, then I think he definitely that changes everything. But still brought him to the Super Bowl.
And again, what he was working with, I'm not, obviously I'm not an Eagles fan, but he had one of the biggest choke artists ever as his QB. And granted, Reed would sometimes he couldn't help himself with his dumb play calling, but he like Mahomes seems to be able to overcome some of that. And Reed also just called a great game last night.
Yeah.
Not Eric Bieniemy. I had to make that distinction.
It'll be interesting for the Eagles too. I mean, they're going to have the same roster for next year, but they're most likely going to lose their OC.
Well, yeah, to the Colts, but I mean, they're going to lose a lot of defensive players.
Yeah.
Well, it's also their schedule is going to be tougher next year because they have a first place schedule.
Yeah.
True.
So
I'm just saying, like, I imagine lose a lot of defense because all those guys are on 1 year contracts, like Bradbury, people on the D line,
like Sue and Dominican Sue.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think he contributed much, but
they're
going to lose him.
It's also like I think they gave a stat at the end. It's like quarterbacks who lose their first Super Bowl don't go back. Like in past, I forget what it was, but it's like if it's your first Super Bowl and you lose, you don't usually go back. Cam Newton never went back. Matt Ryan didn't go back. I'm trying to think. Jimmy G so far hasn't gone back.
Rich Gannon.
Rich Gannon. Hasselbeck. Rex Grossman.
Kerry Collins.
Yeah, Kerry Collins.
Dan Marino.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest name.
But just
did go back.
Will the Eagles bounce back? I mean, probably. They have a good team. Will they get to the Super Bowl? It's too early to tell. Probably not.
I mean, they have a better case being in the NFC at this point because the AFC is way tighter.
Yeah.
It's definitely a tougher competition because, I mean, think about the Eagles are placed in the AFC. Do they get past obviously the Bills are a letdown, but they're still a team you got to show up against. The Bengals.
Well, it's also like now that there's a whole year of footage of the Eagles offense. Yeah. I think they'll be able to catch on to what Jalen Hurts is doing.
Yeah, like those QB draws are going to you're going to see at least in the next two seasons that's going to become less and less, especially when they're going to have to pay him that money.
If they pay him,
they'll pay him probably, but I think that will change. Obviously, then all of a sudden you have all these different weapons that you.
Well, also their O line's getting older too, like Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey.
Yeah,
because that's the thing with someone like Hurts. Like people are saying, this is his coming out party. I don't put a lot of stock in these athletic quarterbacks because they never last. Let's be honest. Like look at people like Cam Newton, Lamar's. The wheels are starting to fall off. If your entire game plan is based on you running, it's not going to last. It doesn't. You could say
It's
being
not
a hater, but
sustainable.
like, yeah, it's not sustainable. Like, we haven't been wrong yet, and I doubt we're going to be wrong.
Like Mahomes doesn't even run first. He just like more of a scrambler and will use his legs when he has to, but he'll always throw.
Well, I
Yeah, I
would
mean,
say
look at his
also look at
passing numbers.
yeah. I mean, he's right now. You got to say he's the best quarterback in the league.
Oh, easily. I don't want to hear none of that Josh Allen talk where people are trying to put Josh Allen.
Burrow is I would take him over Allen any day.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I know everyone, the NFL media was hyping up the Bills. This is before, like, the Damar Hamlin thing. Because then, like, the whole NFL went behind the Bills. Everyone's like, oh, is Josh Allen better than Patrick Mahomes? No. He will never be better than Mahomes unless the Bills can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs when it matters. Beating them in the regular season doesn't mean anything.
See, well, to me, it's not even like being in the playoffs. Like, can Josh Allen not make dumb mistakes? Because every game, Josh Allen he'll throw it right into a guy's face, and it's like, what are you doing?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Don't be doing this.
do you remember when the Steelers lost to the Patriots in 2016, the championship game, and then throughout the whole 2017 season, they were saying like, "Oh, we're gonna go to New England, we're gonna beat them," and they never even made it to New England. That's what I'm thinking the Bills are. The rivalry is actually like the Bills and Chiefs, I guess if you want to call it a rivalry, is just like the Bengals, or it's just like the Steelers and Patriots. It's not really a rivalry because the other team is winning.
Yeah, or like when people said the Jets and Patriots are a rivalry, like it's not.
Yeah. It is just the Chiefs are the team to beat, and they're going to be the team to beat for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, probably until Andy Reid retires.
And
I don't think he's going to quit anytime soon. That guy.
Well, I'm saying I think that's when it'll end. But
and I also want to give Mahomes props because this year was a big question mark for him, especially since Tyreek Hill left. And
yeah,
you know what? He
had an MVP year.
Yeah, clearly
MVP year. And
he played good in the playoffs.
He broke the MVP curse, winning the MVP and Super Bowl MVP in the same year.
Well, it was MVP and Super Bowl just win.
Yeah, but he did that too, so good for him. Yeah, he had a great year.
It kind of went under the radar a bit. I feel like
his MVP.
Well, like his overall season, not like the MVP, but like just his overall season. Like no one really talked about it until the MVP discussion came up.
Well, because everyone was hyping up Josh Allen and hyping, how he's going to win MVP, he's destined to win it, and then they blow at the end of the year.
To do you guys before MVP, you guys might want to pick out an offensive scheme and strategy. Maybe come in this offseason with a playbook.
I got an idea. Actually, run the ball.
Well, that's
it's kind of what the NFL started with, only running the ball. Kind of important to the game.
You would think.
You would think, don't like it cost them.
So I think we're running a little bit out of time, but I mean.
So any tears, Colin, for Nick Sirianni?
No, I'm happy he's crying. I'm hoping he's having a long night. A long, restless night.
It's a long flight back to Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I'm sure all those Eagles fans are going to be flipping cars, whatever. Flip your car, you clowns.
Saying that's for Frank.
Yeah. But I enjoyed the Super Bowl. No, it was not rigged. Just to summarize, ideas. It was not rigged.
That did shock me though. How clean of a game it really it was. It was just a smooth game. It was like the Giants Vikings. It was just a good game.
I'm happy for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and I'm more happy that the Eagles lost because I just could not stand their fans at all. Just could not stand them.
Who can stand them?
They're so bad.
Go Chiefs and go Astros.
Also, there's another team I have to root for.
What?
Because the Phillies 0-3 in championships this year.
Oh, that's true. That's true. What a year for the city of brotherly love. What a year.
Go LA Football Club. Go Stros and go Chiefs.
But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. I mean, the playoffs are kind of boring, not gonna lie. Besides, we said the Giants and Vikings game and the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Like, it was satisfying watching the Bills get smacked, but it was not a good game.
No,
You know, it was satisfying to watch Brady get smacked, but it was not a good game.
I mean Brady getting smacked, Brady losing is always a good game for me, no matter what. If that Parasite loses, that's a happy Colin.
Plus, you had the drama of the kicker. I mean, is he going to make it?
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. I don't know if we'll do an episode maybe after the draft or anything crazy in free agency. I don't know yet.
Yeah, where's Derek Carr go? Where's your boy go?
Yeah. I mean, that could be another episode. Who knows? But we're running short on time right now, so
maybe we'll retire for good like Tom Brady.
You shut up. This is the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Craig.
I'm Daniel.
And we hope Nick Sirianni is still crying.